Welcome back to the Quake Pro League Week 3. I am 40 Lions, joined by Lethal, and I just have to say we apologize for the graphic content we brought to you in the last series, but we're on to our 2 featured matches, Lethal, so why don't we bring Wheat right on in here before we even talk about anything that's going down. Wheat, it's a pleasure to have you. How are you?
Great to be here. That's why they add the, the mature game flag at the front, when you see those types of matches. Great to be here. Seen some interesting matches today, high scoring, some good outings overall. So excited for what we got here.
Very excited. Lethal, how do you feel about it? We're going to get into dramiS versus RAISY shortly.
dramiS is a weird one, isn't he? Because last season he went on a rampage.
First of all.
Yeah, that is true. But RAISY, it depends on how much he's been working on his progress starting off this season as well. Because dramiS will just pop off. He can be like a diamond in the rough against some of these top players. It's unbelievable what he can do. And it's very hard to predict. It's very easy to predict how bad my maths is at the moment, even though I meant to say 75, not 85. But
right.
dramiS, though, it's weird. He can have a very strong beginning, but he's done it a couple of seasons in a row where he'll take out like RAISY or Wenger or Max or on the occasion like Kilson here and there. So it's very hard to predict exactly what he's like. I don't know if he does it at the beginning of the season because all the top players, all the players in general are just trying to ease their way into the Pro League and then start performing better as it gradually goes on and then start hitting the practice regimen. And if dramiS takes advantage of that, or if dramiS just has some kind of factor against these guys at the very beginning, I'm not too sure. But I'm very excited to see what he can do and if he can do the same to RAISY compared to the last season in terms of his performance.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about dramiS. One thing that's really interesting is RAISY. He is such an interesting player. Like you see the quality of play that he brings, but he has that stone golem layer, right? And just this week I saw a tweet from him on social media where he made an 11 or 12 frag comeback in like 2.5, almost 3 minutes. And I was watching because I'm like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. Like RAISY's gonna pop off if he when he wins this. And here's the final frag. And he is just like, he is the next gen cyborg, right? Like bringing the emotion must all be inside, but it comes out in his play. So I think this is a real tough opponent for dramiS. Like dramiS, I agree, he's got the potential, but RAISY, even though he had his first loss, he's 1-1 and lost to Kilson. Still a good match, still very close. Expect great things from RAISY this season. So a proving point, if you will, for dramiS to see how his performance stacks up.
And to better paint that picture for us, why don't we take a look at the pick bands real quick, see what maps we're playing, what champs are going to be in play here. We're going to start off on Vale, then we're going to go to Ruins, and we're going to finish off on Molten Falls and Lethal. Please run me through the champs as you've been doing all day so beautifully.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. I'm not going to lie. In terms of champions, I kind of feel like dramiS may have the upper hand here. It just depends how good his slash is on Ruins, but he lost the old slidey champions, then but Vale has got the ice and straight away, as RAISY has banned the Ranger, but he's going to be using the Anarchy this time around. I can't really recollect how many times I've seen an Anarchy played on Vale. Of course, we know it's a rarity. It's a rarity in itself, but we know it's less than a handful of times. So I have to see how he's going to try and make that work. Ruins for the slash was a strong pick. This is going to be a bloodbath, I'm sure. I feel it's going to be still a methodical approach in comparison to what we normally see. We know that they're very fast, agile champions, but in terms of a decision making, we have to see how much pressure RAISY can put on with that Pika as well. And going to Molten Falls, the scale band again. We've seen a lot of scale bands here, but online it's not really too much of a surprise. We'll have to see what RAISY can do with that visor, but it's going to be a fight for the hourglasses, especially with them two and Molten Falls. So it's going to be adding a nice little variety of strategies in terms of what rotations they're going to make against each other. So I do feel like dramiS got a slight edge in terms of champion picks, but I'm sure RAISY may put a change to that. We'll see.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I would have loved to seen a deep embrace between these two, just make that ring a little bit smaller. But I do think that there's something to the art of, the map sizes that we've got here. And that probably being dramiS's best chance versus RAISY. But of course, we'll see. As far as champ picks go, Yeah, I mean, we've seen RAISY versus Galena's on Molten. He's got the ability to do all the totem management that you need to do. I still am giving this one to RAISY, but I think we'll see a lot more mid to long range battles here.
I'm interested to see exactly if dramiS pops off like we've seen him do time and time again with a rail and just play his game and say, I don't care who I'm playing. I'm going to utilize the rail a lot, regardless of where I am on the map and regardless of where my opponent is in front of me. If I'm not mistaken, and one of you can correct me, Flea, if he's in the chat, I think dramiS took out RAISY last season, early on in the season already. So this is kind of something that dramiS has already been able to do. Granted, forms and shapes, practice, the regimens, all that are probably a little bit different. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if dramiS took this set. It wouldn't be that crazy to me. But as you said, RAISY is just the stone-faced killer in the server. He can pop off, too, and we might even see some gauntlets at play here, which I would be so happy. But we'll see. We'll see.
We might.
Pretty sure we will. And just to add to that as well, yeah. So last season, week 2, dramiS did actually come out on top 2-1, but it was quite a close affair actually. It was like Ruins Corrupted Keep and Awoken, just a handful of frags, 2 frags, a 4 and another 4, and Ruins Corrupted and Awoken. So we've still got the Ruins there, but in terms of the map picks and how this is going to go, it could be a different kind of tale this time round. Of course, it's been a whole year since that last fateful day, but can dramiS take advantage of some of these top players or top dogs who've had a bit of an off season really in terms of practice and trying to build up to this moment in the Pro League and try and take him down? He did it last time, so no reason why I can't do it again.
Might be able to. Looking at the prediction, 60% in favor of RAISY, at least on the first map, which will be Vale. So we will see who comes out on top starting with that. But, Lethal, why don't you go check on your kettle of fish or whatever? Let Wheat and I handle this. You can come back a little bit later when we got an interview.
I'll do it. I'll do that just for you, mate.
See you soon.
Sounds good.
Oh, thank
finally,
God,
right? I got teased in week 1 when it was 40 and ZSX, and then right before the last match, like 40's internet magically something happened, and I didn't even get to cast with you. So
I mean, I got a call from someone
excited.
saying they're your talent agent and that I have a restraining order, and even online, and I was like, I don't know what this means. So we need to talk offline because I was a little offended. But yes, I apologize for week 1. It's amazing to be here. It's amazing to have another season of Quake Pro League. I'm very thankful. Chat's very thankful. It's great to have you back as always. Very excited to get into this one with you, Wheat.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. And we're still so early in the season, right? Like this is, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, like dramiS is ranked 13th, but he's actually got 1 win, right? It's just we're starting to climb up that ladder a little bit. I did want to say that, you know, at the end, the conclusion of last year's season, the last season, I do think that, you know, dramiS had, he had sort of the energy, right? He got fired up by that finals a little bit, right? So I am kind of curious to see if anything might come from that, because he takes his game in really seriously. He's putting in the practice, but is it enough? RAISY consistently making those finals. So let's see. Take it away, man.
Let's see. Map number 1 is live between these two, dramiS versus RAISY. dramiS starting off, getting that rocket launcher and LG, quickly booking it to the Mega, as well as deploying the Timmy. And as you said, RAISY probably one of the most consistent players in finals, but it's always second place. And I can't help but think he has lower bracket issues early, and he's just got to put in so much more work, so many more reps, so many more maps, and I feel like it's fatigue more than anything. But maybe Wheat, this season is the one where he can crown himself a champion, but still we have a long way to go, and it starts with maps like these.
It really does. And hold on, we might see our first one. Nope. What a pop-up rocket there for for RAISY, but it's not going to matter because First Blood still comes out. You don't look up, but dramiS did, and he got that first frag. Nicely done with a beautiful rail.
Yeah, absolutely picking him out of the sky, and very interested to see exactly how much he utilizes that rail. As we said before, dramiS is no stranger to using the rail at any distance, at any situation, and that's why I love his play, because it's all or nothing.
Yeah, and everything he's doing right now is positioning for that rail, which I think you would kind of expect here on Vale. But RAISY, dramiS can't get the LG damage out. The rail's great, but you need to be able to clean up on that, and the mop apparently not performing the way he wanted it to. No cleanup on that one, and dramiS does bring it back, but RAISY back on the board with one. Might actually get a follow-up here, and yes.
Wow!
Oh my God! Is this Tony Hawk Pro Skater, or is it Quake Champions? I have no idea how that happened, but I saw the kickflip into the frag. We're tied 2 apiece.
And he jumped over the acid too. That was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He was teetering on the edge of the window, kickflipped over the acid, still got the frag with 1 HP. RAISY is nuts.
That was pretty wild. I was absolutely expecting that to be a dramiS frag, and once again, RAISY surprises us as he constantly does. And that's also that showcase of, listen, you don't give up until you're actually dead. Your corpse is on the ground, right? He was like, no, I can still get this frag, and he did. So we're tied 2-2 with just 2 minutes and 18 seconds passed on this clock. So there's a lot of time in this one, but this could be a good like preview of what we might see in the next 2 games as well.
Yeah, I would love to see this be the start and kind of dictating the pace of the entire set. 23 HP. RAISY hanging on right now. Both players extremely weak. There's a jump over the heavy. No contest. This dramiS too weak. Doesn't want to risk it. Hanging out in the Thunderdome, using those bubbles. Just missing out on a rail, but so does RAISY. Again, stacks still equal.
Yeah, and of course, RAISY on the Anarchy, those rails, they hurt a little bit more. They sting a little bit extra, and is definitely doing everything he can to avoid those right now. So it looks like we're gonna have a battle here for that heavy, but the LG lock on RAISY, or for RAISY, he does go for the inject, and that's gonna be a pretty easy cleanup. And I don't know if it was great to be fighting there on the middle level, but dramiS decided to go ahead and take that real close rail, escapes through that teleporter. RAISY still on the chase, and the LG once again pops him up 2 more frags for a 2-point lead.
It was just beautiful. I love the air strafing RAISY used to kind of catch dramiS off guard on where he would be after he rocket jumped through the telly, and now just pure aggression. RAISY needs to be careful. 8 HP, but hits the rail. Doesn't even care about Timmy.
Doesn't. Nope, it just goes right past it. Doesn't matter that Timmy can look a little bit faster now, but 5-2, RAISY a little bit low on health, but it doesn't matter through the teleporter. Another frag, and this is where it starts to, I would say, get scary, but RAISY's looking to pad that lead for as much as he can. Still got to be careful, because I think dramiS has a good sort of strategy against him. Try to land those rails, close the gap, get in. But I would say RAISY grades a little bit better on terms of how he's been cleaning up some of these frags. And if we saw that out of dramiS, he could be able to bring that score back in his favor a little bit. There's a nice rocket that hits. The eject does come out. But once again, just protecting that top so we can get that mega, and we'll battle to see another day.
Yeah, and interesting to look at the rail percentage here. 50% for dramiS, 47% for RAISY, so about equal. Items looks like 10 majors for RAISY and 9 now for dramiS. He makes his way back to the mega after picking up that heavy, and all things considered, still pretty even. I know the 4 frag deficit looks a little rough for dramiS, but 1 frag, and he's pretty much back in this based on the control that he's showing, at least at the moment, and the fact that, as you said, Anarchy's a little bit of a lightweight, so to speak.
Yeah, it's got to be just careful about that. Got to definitely pick his battles. Like in a situation right here, right? Just under 100 health, no armor. That's danger zone. So he does manage to pick up a light, gets a second one, feels much more comfortable now actually in battle. Couple rockets coming from down below and then into the center. Misses that rail, but might be able to get advantage here at the top. Going to wait it out for... Actually, he's not going to have a chance to get in on that next mega. That's going to be picked up by dramiS, so he'll have to wait here for the heavy to spawn here in just a moment. 40, we've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, and he gets the drop on him. dramiS caught looking, and the air rocket.
Ouch.
Brutal.
Totally brutal. Totally brutal. And that, 5 frags, that's starting to look much prettier here for RAISY. LG out. Oh, beeps of death right there. He can't get the final little bit of damage. There it is for frag number 8. 6 now between these two. And RAISY's looking to Now he's looking to try to solidify his win here if he can in the next few seconds. But dramiS, all right, that's what he needed. He needed to throw a wall in front of RAISY, and this is his first step.
Yeah, not bad at all. Good start. But he needs to pick up the pace here, waiting on that Mega. He's going to dive down 15 seconds to the heavy, so he needs to look for damage and go on the hunt here. RAISY goes up the jump pad. There's a little bit of LG. Uses the inject, trying to tri-bolt his way out of there, and uses that speed from the inject to get away successfully for the time being, but may have just trapped himself. dramiS waiting for the heavy, won't pursue because he wants the stack. And now it's, again, back to hunting as time is ticking.
Yeah, and I can already feel like RAISY's going to a bit of a defensive posture. There's a nice little rocket that does come out, and RAISY's now in that scary spot. Oh, I like what dramiS did there. He did not go for that Mega right away. Actually looked for that frag because he knows he needs to pick that up here pretty soon, but RAISY's doing everything right in terms of giving him the chase. We got turret up to the top level. 5 frags are needed by dramiS, but he just cannot seem to find RAISY. And when he does find him, there he finally does hit a rail. Can he find a second one? He really needs to try to claw back at least one more frag here before it hits the 8-minute mark.
Really nice rails as RAISY is just giving him the opportunity here. Mega picked up. dramiS rocket jumps. He might have another angle, but dramiS just missing out on the ability. RAISY using that speed again, just hanging on with, what, 75 HP tops right now?
Yep, and he is going to pick up a couple of lights, but there we go. He missed it, and his opponent went through that telly. Thought that might be a chance. There's his rail. Now he's just got to try to follow up here, but you can start to see where the speed is really playing into favor of RAISY. Not having much problems even without the inject, just trying to stay away from his opponent. Less than 2 minutes to go, 40, and is slowly slipping out of the hands of dramiS to try to bring this one back. And RAISY would probably feel pretty good going into map number 2 with a solid frag lead. It looks like he's going to try to do it, but dramiS has got to make something happen here to try to pull something together.
Nice rail and good patience. Making that last rail slug count, but he's still down by 4 with 1:20. And I think this is just a tale of too much speed right now.
Yeah.
We're going to see a more equalized speed as we get into Ruins Flash versus Strog, but dramiS just can't find the angles he needs because he's not fast enough, Weed.
Yeah, and you know, someone in chat even said this is so frustrating to play versus Anarchy, and it's true, right? I mean, if I was to look back and give a hindsight report in terms of what did or did not work, all right, there's another one. We got a minute left. This is actually possible all of a sudden. But RAISY's going to try to probably prioritize speed. dramiS is just going to try to land those rails. Both players incredibly low. There's the first rail, looking for a second one. He's been having problems with his cleanups today, and it prevents yet another frag. I was going to mention that if some of those LG hits would have connected early on in the match, he could already have those couple of frags that he needed. But right now, 20 seconds left. I think that is going to be it. dramiS had a chance. The window is open, 40, but unfortunately, it is shut.
Yeah, that's definitely frustrating, I think, is the key word for this first map for dramiS, whether it be the lack of cleanup, as you said, or just trying to chase and get the ability to try and frag. It's just, it didn't go his way, unfortunately. RAISY playing it perfectly with the Anarchy, taking map number 1, but I really feel like map number 2 is going to be a lot closer given the champ picks of Slash and Strog. But fantastic play from RAISY to start off this set.
It was pretty good. I mean, early on, I think, right, we saw some early rails from dramiS, where I think RAISY was outperforming dramiS, was when he was landing his rails, he was following up with LG that was very effective, getting him the frag. He also caught dramiS a couple times with that LG on return damage, not much that he could do. That is going to be key if you're up against an Anarchy and you're landing those rails. That's great, but it doesn't matter if you're cleaning those frags up. And that is probably where you go back, you review those tapes, and there is that shot. It's so funny because looking at it through RAISY's perspective is like, oh yeah, he was totally going to live. But I was watching through dramiS's perspective, and it looked like he was out of that ring. He was going to fall. So yeah, I might have been a little bit optimistic there at the end, thinking that dramiS could bring back 3. The speed was just too much there, and he'll just have to take it into game 2 and see what he can do.
Yeah, for sure, but I still think decent showing. Again, it's just the speed is crazy. That was really good patience on that rail right there. But stuff like this, where you just want to get the kill so bad, and you're using the rail, but you're taking so much damage, and then RAISY doing exactly what he needed near the end there to make sure that this is not going to get out of control. 9-5, the final score for map number 1 as we take a look at the weapon breakdown.
Yeah, and I think you still are pretty happy with the 5-9 loss to RAISY, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to bring up old shit, but in the last game, right, getting beat by 20 plus frags, like that can hurt. I would say you put on a good showing versus a player of RAISY's caliber when you make it 5-9, and at one point had the first blood and had the lead. So nicely done. It makes me think that dramiS is just gonna reset, take this in the next game, and with the score that close, things definitely could go one way over the other.
Yeah, I don't think that dramiS has anything necessarily to worry about. I am interested to see the dynamic between the light and the medium stack, because obviously dramiS, he's going to want to trade rails, but you can't really trade rails because you're a light. So even if you're getting the items,
yeah.
Strog still kind of has the advantage, but you get the speed. So it's a matter of maybe some angles and some kind of pot shots, if you will, where you can kind of peek around the corner real quick, get a rail off unreturned. But we've seen dramiS do crazy things, so I'm very excited. He is a Slash player, maybe not as well known as Tox for Slash, but his Slash is fantastic. So this one should be a fantastic map. It's going to be a good 10 minutes, Weed.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually seen some pretty good games on Ruins already this season, so right, like, I mean, I probably go back and forth on like my map tier list of what I like to watch and what I think produces the best matches. Ruins over time, sometimes it's up a little bit, sometimes it's down, but for whatever reason right now, it's been producing some pretty great games and some pretty wow moments. So hopefully we get one of those here on this next Ruins.
Hopefully. I think hopefully next season we'll get Dark Zone in here. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. So Ruins of Sarnath, map number 2 between these two players. Is RAISY going to be able to take this set 2-0? We will find out in about 10 minutes. We're live right now, starting off on dramiS yet again. He's got that Slash.
Yeah, and let's see how he's going to use it. Move on through this map already, just cruising. Got himself a rail, got himself the heavy, and got to be wondering, okay, wait a second, where is RAISY? Sets him up, nice rail right out of the gate. He's going to try to keep his rail away from RAISY, and I like this. I think that's a pretty smart strat. Is it going to be sustainable? Probably not, but he had a good idea of what RAISY was going to do next. Direct rocket into the rail, and a beautiful opening for frag number 1.
Start the dramiS wants. Can he tack more on, though? Nice heavy pickup, absolutely clean. Does have the snail trail as well. And I would love if there was like a statistic for how long you had certain weapons out, because I feel like dramiS is just rail all day. Amazing rockets there. Gets his second frag for this map.
Yeah, I thought that weapon switch there was actually not going to work out well for dramiS, but for whatever reason, RAISY decided to stay on that platform and go ahead and fight it. That meant dramiS clean up pretty easily. It's going to trail down near the heavy, and heavy is going to come out. There's a jumping rail and the peeker, but peeker's just going to like wildly spin around all rabid and do a little bit of damage before going down. A 2-frag lead, similar to what we saw here in game number 1, but don't forget, just this week we watched RAISY claw back from an 11-frag deficit. I think this guy is capable of a lot.
Absolutely. Here's again, dramiS doing a great job. Timing the items, doing some great damage here. He does give up the mega, but a great rail as RAISY wants a piece of this heavy. Snail trail comes out, and dramiS is able to just land these big rockets. 3-0 for dramiS right now.
Yeah, I mean, you really start to start thinking, okay, what is RAISY gonna do here, right? He's taken a lot of up close battles that are not in his favor. That was number 4 right there. Easy dispatch by dramiS to add on to the lead here. But some sort of a comeback has to go. Now, a rocket from the top. RAISY knows and smells blood, so he's going to go down. It doesn't yield a frag, but he does get the heavy, and that will throw dramiS a little bit out of his pattern and or cycle that he was going through. We're still so early in this matchup, but RAISY now looking to see if this might be his moment to regain control.
He's playing with fire. 89 HP, and RAISY picks him out right before the light armor pickup. What a shot. speed. Try both speed bumps as RAISY in hot pursuit right now. Swaps to the LG. The machine gun's not going to be enough for dramiS, and no, we can't get away.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be running away from RAISY in that sort of scenario where he can get an easy lock on you with that LG. But not much you can do, right? There's only so many options in which way you can go. RAISY's already clawed 2 back here in the last about 40 seconds or so. So, dramiS, you get a nice rally like that, and you hope to compound as much as you can, right, 40, but stopped at 4. Probably needs to slow down just a little bit. I'm curious how RAISY's going to be putting, because he's already turning on the pressure. Another fight here for the heavy, but RAISY loses that opportunity. dramiS does grab it. A little bit of damage does go out, but it pretty much ends up a draw. dramiS comes out a little bit low, and the LG once again, is he going to be able to clean this one up? He's looking for it. He's trying some defensive rockets, a slide around the side, the LG back out again, and in the corner, painted and ousted with another rocket. 4-3, RAISY almost back.
dramiS just wants to do so much damage, but he wasn't getting the big chunky rockets that he really needed in that fight, and it cost him another frag, and now he's in a bad position. That's a fantastic defensive rail, but 68 HP, he's gonna go for it, and he does steal away the heavy at least. Survives a 27-52 after a bubble. Make that 77, looking a little bit better. There's the chase. Great rocket from RAISY just to keep him defensive, but the rail vertically won't hit, and now dramiS playing ring around the rosy. There's the 13 damage rocket. RAISY plants him with a rail.
And even had the peeker on backup just in case. Oh my God, what?
Wow.
I'm not even sure how that happened, but LG wins, and somehow 2 frags out of that, picking up just a little bit of health there in between, and another one. Are you serious? The last 3 frags, like that shouldn't happen. Does that, in the top 10 plays of the week, can you just like put all 3 of those into 1 frag? Does that count, 40? I don't know, but maybe they should think about it. That was pretty nice.
I'll have a word with production. Peeker around the corner now is dramiS. Tried to hit him with the RAISY down in heavy armor with the gauntlet, but it wasn't enough. Good rail. RAISY down to 50 HP. dramiS flying through the telly. Little tickle is all he needs around the corner, but RAISY makes him pay with rockets, just hanging on by a thread here. dramiS says, you know what, I just need this heavy. I still have time. 5 minutes. He doesn't need to rush anything necessarily, but he does need to keep the gas on here as he is just on the cusp of getting his 5th frag, but RAISY slowly stacking back up.
Yeah, they're at the heavy a little early, and, you know, could use that mega, but probably not even in a position to fight. 1 rail, and he is 6 feet under, gonna go down. I don't think has really a leg to stand on as far as fighting here for the heavy. So RAISY's gonna need at least a light. He's gonna find one, maybe. Thinks he knows where his opponent is, but actually behind him gets that light, but it is negated by the rail. Peeker coming out, a lot of damage, does a little bit more on the cleanup, fires another rail, hits 2 points of health. Both of these guys bleeding out of so many different cuts. RAISY, oh my God, a beautiful snipe by dramiS as RAISY's going for that mega, and he's still in this. It's still a 2 frag game.
Gonna catch him up the jump pad. A little bit of LG dramiS. Almost tries to get the float there. Misses with the vertical rail. Ooh, but the read's nice. Up the jump pad goes RAISY. Now he's stuck out in the upper courtyard. Peeker. A little bit of a miss there. Not a huge deal as dramiS just wants to position properly for this mega, and he's gonna drop straight down to heavy afterwards. As the snail trail available. Gonna have a nice stack to work with after these pickups. Needs to go straight back to hunting as we're getting closer to the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, this is a big moment, right? I mean, he's got a really nice stack. Does see his opponent, goes ahead and flips on that trail, and just unable to kind of capitalize on those moments, 40. And I feel like that's been a consistent theme throughout both of these games.
No!
And oh, it's going to be a trade in a way, I guess, a kill, but a suicide. And dramiS is going to spawn on that mega 40, which I guess is like the most you could ask for there, but that was a big momentum loss for dramiS.
For sure. Nice little rocket damage there, but he does eat a rail, eats another one, needs to be careful, and he can't get around the corner. RAISY makes him pay, and dramiS is playing a little bit too loose, a little bit too fast. in my opinion. Flips him the bird, but the rockets won't land, and RAISY says, here's another bird for you. Cooks him. 35 HP off the spawn, taking a rail. RAISY trying to machine gun his way out of this one. 3 HP, and finally, dramiS goes down 10-5, and this has exploded.
It has. It's kind of, this is a big breakaway here for RAISY. He's going to pick up another one, and I mean, he might be closing this book already. Just might be done. 2 minutes left to go, but RAISY has really stepped it up a little bit. I mean, key moments in this match 40, that 3 frag pickup by RAISY, you know, unfortunate spawns for dramiS for sure. Also, RAISY was incredibly low. I think a lot of players would have made the same decision, thinking they probably could have cleaned it up and stopped that rally, but it happened anyway. 6 frags deficit here for dramiS, and you know, what can he do? RAISY playing smart in the position that he's in. Going to keep on trying to hold on to the control he's got. But he's kept himself out of danger, and he has attacked when opportunities have arisen. And this is looking like another good match here for RAISY.
Yeah, just playing it really, really well. Great catch there by dramiS using the speed and the rockets, but with a minute left, down 5. I mean, RAISY will just delay the spawn. He has about equal speed to run away. And most of all, he doesn't have to move if he doesn't want to, Wheat. So unfortunate for dramiS. I feel like midway through the game, it was just a little bit too hectic, a little too fast. And oh no, he hit him with the counter-strike.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I mean, it was such a good start for dramiS. He's going to pick up another one, but 40 seconds left. 4 frags, going to be pretty tough. I thought it was a really good start from dramiS, right? He hit some remarkable rails. Consistently, I think players must just get frustrated. RAISY can be difficult to hit. He definitely knows how to run. He knows how to chase. And in this situation, you know, dramiS just missed a couple opportunities where maybe frags could have gone in his favor. Great jumping rail there to try to get it. And once again, though, he runs away. And here's the cleanup, right? Look at how, even in that little moment, right, you kind of look at the situation and go, it should have been cleaned up a little bit faster. RAISY manages to be sneaky and elusive all of the time. And you got to see it all throughout that matchup.
Yeah, really well done. And now the question transitions from who's going to take the series to, is this going to be a 3-0 for RAISY, or is dramiS going to be able to fight back on this last map? It does take the wind out of your sails when you know the set is already gone, but you still have to do your best to dig deep and fight and try and get that money in your pocket, put a little something on the board. We're going to go to Molten Falls here shortly. dramiS will have the Galena, RAISY will have the Visor. But as you said, RAISY's just looking so strong. Can't wait to have a chat with him a little bit later after this third map, after we see how it goes. But just a really, really good display from RAISY.
Yeah, and again, I will echo what I said in after game number 1, is that was still a pretty close game, right? Like, dramiS is playing well. If you took this dramiS and plopped him into other matchups that we'll inevitably see throughout the season, there's going to be some victories in there for sure. So hopefully not discouraging, and can walk away and go, you know what, 5-9 versus RAISY on Veil, that's not too shabby. An 8-11 versus RAISY on Ruins, that's pretty good. Again, like some slight changes here and there, and they could have been different games. So the suicide frag was unfortunate, because I think there was that moment where he really was stacked and RAISY was hurting. That could have been a big turning point. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. And you know, RAISY is he's someone who is clearly, whether he is ahead or whether he's behind, he is still playing with the same capacities. He doesn't seem to tilt. It's just, it all works out.
I think, as you mentioned, the fact that he doesn't really have a lot of expressions, good, bad, or whatever, is terrifying. Right. Going up against anyone that just seems like a cyborg. I mean, everyone said that about Tox, right? Like, this guy just has no emotions. I think RAISY's the second coming of that, where it's just like, oh, yeah, no, this guy is amazing, and he won't let you know exactly how he's feeling at all. Like, you just see nothing but just the face of death, usually, as we take a look at the scores, 9-5, 8, 11-8, excuse me. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was going to say is that it is true. Both RAISY and Toxic, they they live in that sort of we say, oh, they're emotionless, oh, they're cyborgs, but in reality, no, it's just all coming out in game, right? So they are able to funnel whatever they are feeling and take it right into that game and just funnel it right there digitally. So that's where you see it come out, and it's been apparent even in the game saw earlier today with Tox and what we consistently see from RAISY. So, yep, you mentioned it, Molten Falls, Galena versus Visor. What do you think, right? The healing versus the vision. Does he need, is the vision needed? I do think this is a map where, okay, maybe dramiS has a bit of a champ advantage here and could use that to try to tip it in his favor.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what kind of totem positioning he might have, like something up his sleeve. I know RAISY for sure does, so he's going to check whatever's available. But it's a matter of, does dramiS use it? Does he implement it? Does he know about it? I think the vision for RAISY is going to be fantastic. And I think RAISY's feeling good to the point where it might not even really matter. He'll use the piercing sight for sure, but I don't think that's going to be the backbreaker that changes everything in this set.
Right. Well, we're about to find out. GLHFs across the board, and here we go. Gonna watch through dramiS's eyes, and he's gonna pick up that mega spawn. Actually might work out for him off the start, but unfortunately RAISY did get that rail heavy spawn. One rail already hit. dramiS not looking great after picking up that mega and that first light, but we'll see what happens here. As early on, both players just split back and wait for the next battle.
Yeah, 2 quick rails, taking care of the totem easily, and knowing the dramiS wants the rail, he just hits one easily and kind of leaves it.
Yeah. I mean, both players definitely respecting the hell out of one another. dramiS finally gets himself a rail now. Or maybe he had one. I just hadn't used it yet. I don't know. But dramiS now on the mega side. Heavy's up, but a few seconds delay there, 40. See how that one's going to play out. Still no first blood.
First blood indeed. The vision is used, though. Opportunity for rail here, just missing out on the angle. Mega's going to be the first item up, and it looks like RAISY using those vials. He wants that vision back up as soon as he can, as he casually makes his way back to the mega. Plenty of time for the heavy. Up the jump pad goes dramiS. A lot of LG. The rocket's not doing the big damage dramiS needs. Is it going to be enough? The rail, 1 HP. RAISY did it again.
I hate to keep on saying the same thing. I keep saying it's just what I am seeing. But there we go. Nice comeback for dramiS as he does tie it back up. I mean, I'd be kind of upset knowing that maybe my opponent walked away with 1 HP too, right? He was not in a great advantageous position for that fight, right? He was firing rockets from down below. RAISY kind of had that cover of the high ground advantage, and you know, a different situation, like an LG there could have changed things up, but RAISY now still going to contest this heavy. Both players so very low. Vision is going to be up soon. That can give him big advantage, and there it is, and pops the totem. Somehow manages to stay alive and gives himself a second frag, but dramiS off the spawn going in quick, but RAISY pushes him back.
And I just love RAISY's ability to stay calm and just play sneaky and just say, I'm going to get literally the drop on you. And that's how he got that second frag. And it was just composure.
Yeah, it's very nicely done. RAISY's always kind of been sneaky, likes to set up those traps, and totems haven't been doing as much as I thought they might be able to do in this matchup. Still, again, very, very early. RAISY low, and there's the rail. We're gonna tie it back up here, but dramiS super low and almost down. Is he gonna get it? Yep, but it'll be a trade. And that means that we're tied 3 apiece.
RAISY's able to get the mega spawn. dramiS will get the heavy. RAISY playing a little bit slower here, doesn't want to take a lot of damage trying to secure rockets as he has no weaponry. Finally picking up rockets there. It's going to help him out just a little bit. The jump pad, nice dodge from RAISY there.
Yeah, does he know when heavy is? A little early here, but he fires some rockets to bring it back. He is going to grab that. RAISY got the mega. Vision is up in just a moment. And more totems going down here. I don't know what RAISY has in mind, but a couple rockets come out, missed that rail, unfortunately. That would have been a big one from the bottom. gets nailed with that rocket as well. And dramiS just hasn't had a whole lot of these engagements in that heavy room that have gone in his favor.
Been unfortunate for sure as we're hitting the 4-minute mark. Securing the heavy again, items traded between both players. Oh no, that could have been a bad jump pad to take. Put on the emergency brake there, and dramiS U-turn and got the hell out of there.
The sixth sense was the ESP was firing off like something's not right here.
Yep, nope, something feels wrong. Don't want it.
Yeah, even followed up with a very nice rail. So dramiS, though, still looking for a bit of a stack, and that might be where RAISY's biggest advantage is, just being able to chip away at that and making these major items a little less effective for him. There's a mega pickup. Now, heavy's there, but again, a delay from RAISY sitting on the top, thinking, I might have trap potential right here. But dramiS isn't going to fall for that bait, and RAISY is going to eventually grab it.
Still tied at 3, almost halfway through officially. Whether it's the size of the map or the champ picks or whatever, I do like how dramiS is playing a little bit more measured. He's not going as crazy. Again, playing till the end of the set. You want to win whatever maps you can, even though the series is gone. It matters. Ooh. Good rail there as RAISY now just so much stack to work with. dramiS trying to make him pay. Don't come anywhere near me. Goes through, eats the totem, needs to be careful. He's gonna drop down on LG. dramiS almost pushes him off the map, but RAISY puts the beat on him and is able to get that frag.
I do think that was pretty nice, but RAISY, I think his confidence level is it's soaring right now, 40. I mean, just that fight in the heavy before the frag, we saw RAISY making what I would say some kind of risky jumps over the top, but looking for his opponent, landing those shots, feeling confident like I've got to make them and I will make them. And that confidence is showing here as this 2-frag lead now in the last minute or so has started to come out here from RAISY, and dramiS is really trying to hold on here, but RAISY also with that confidence comes a little bit of an increase in pressure overall. There the vision is popped. He knows exactly where his opponent is, means he's going to be able to grab that mega, maybe even bait a little bit for some tri-bolt damage. It's not going to matter. This 3-frag lead has to be feeling real good for RAISY.
Yeah. Not bad at all here. They might have a huge fight over the heavy. Both players with rail up close, and now the shotgun from dramiS. As he says, you know what, this one might fare a little better. And even after all that, still 4 HP. He's got to stack back up off the rail items. Down by 2, trying to contest for this next mega.
There's a catch by RAISY. He's very patient, just waits to get some machine gun cess on his opponent. Still 2 frags, decent, but not anything that can let you throw away your strategy and throw caution into the wind. Pulls out that LG as he drops down, and RAISY is going to be forced back. So dramiS, when he's had the stack and he's been in a good position, he's had more luck here. RAISY, I think he's now tempered back the fire a little bit, 40. You know, he's like, okay, I need to slow it down just a little bit. Now that he got that 3rd frag back, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. dramiS doesn't have a lot of time, but that push was not in his favor. Just getting absolutely melted down by that LG. Clean heavy pickup here, but RAISY's playing nice and slow, as we've seen. Not afraid to slow everything down, walk around the map, take his time, and just get an exact beat on where you're at before he, figures out whether he wants to attack, ambush you, go for an item. I mean, this is firmly in RAISY's grasp. 240 left on the, 220 left on the clock. 3-frag lead.
Yeah, oh my gosh. dramiS goes out to the middle area. He's like, I've got a full stack, let's go, boys. And then gets, hit with the rail right on the dome. As he goes back up, RAISY, that immediately means he's going to go aggressive. And look at how low both these players are yet again. But RAISY seems to be completely comfortable still fighting in that situation. dramiS knowing the time's ticking away. This is becoming more and more of a burden for him. And as he drops down a second time, he's caught, unfortunately, with that LG 40. That hurts.
It does.
Stings.
RAISY's so good at just, okay, there it is, we got the gauntlet. He's like, how dare you walk on top of my head? But I was gonna say, RAISY's so good at just hugging close walls and just blasting you with LG at the last second to carry you into the heavens. Like, that is a signature RAISY play.
Yeah, and that is going to be a signature RAISY win, 3-0 on that one. And we mentioned earlier that he's 1-1 in season standings, but that one loss has been versus arguably one of his toughest opponents all season long, and that is Kilson. Still a good match. I think that was week 1 if you want to go back and check that one out. There's another frag. In the last few minutes, RAISY's just going to blow this one wide open 40. If you had to look back at both of these players,
dramiS is like, you won, but I can still gauntlet.
Oh man, wow. I don't know what to say about that.
I love it.
It's like even playing field now.
Yeah. Restart the map after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what do you think really was the decider in terms of if you were going to put RAISY and dramiS? Like, what were the things you saw from RAISY that you think gave him this decisive 3-0 victory?
I mean, I don't want to just chalk it up to something as simple as like, well, dramiS just didn't hit his shots, but the way he plays in positions around the rail, that literally is sometimes what it comes down to. If he's landing the damage, it'll look great, and if he doesn't, it kind of shows up like today. So in my opinion, it was a little bit of that, where we've seen dramiS on hot streaks where he's hitting insane rails popping off, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. Why is he doing this? And it's like, because it works. But the minute it doesn't, this is kind of what you get, where it's still a close game. He's still doing damage, but as you said, closing out, cleaning up those kills doesn't come through, and then you're down by 2-3, and then time hits.
Yeah. I mean, still a good showing from dramiS. I definitely, saw some great play out of him. He had some amazing shots. I think there's just a few areas that he improves in, and against any other opponent in the, not any other opponent in the QPL, but against many other opponents, I think dramiS, again, takes that victory. But today here, any given Quake Saturday, RAISY was the winner.
Indeed, RAISY prevails. Let's bring back Lethal, see how he feels about this set between these two. Lethal, hope you had a great break. How was a kettle of fish?
Yeah, it was right, mate. It was fabulous. Fabulous as always.
Delicious.
Yeah, it was always delicious. But, dramiS played pretty well considering those first 2 maps. I think it's great, but he still kept the scores respectable. Of course, we know it's a 3-0 margin. Molten Falls kind of fell short of that in terms of the last few moments. But I think last time round, dramiS was taking down a RAISY last season where I wouldn't say RAISY wasn't fully prepared, but of course during the first few weeks, I mentioned it earlier about the fact that in the Pro League, they're still just trying to ease themselves into it, and dramiS played extremely well. But even after his scoreline and after that last map as well, dramiS is still one of those players which can be a thorn on the side to some of these top 5 players, where it can really anything happen on any given day. One minor error can really caused some huge issues, and we saw that in the first couple of maps. But yeah, I do agree with what you're both have been saying, though, just due to the fact that with dramiS, just a few minor bits and pieces here and there he just needs to try and correct in order to be another juggernaut again earlier on in the season.
There's the final score of that game 3. I mean, the first game was 5-9, second game 8-11. Last game, 6-11, all clear, you could say decisive, but still pretty close matches across the board. So dramiS could not repeat his performance from the regular season of last season, but we'll see what he does for the remainder of QPL season 4.
Yeah, so he does drop to...
I can't.
I'm not ever doing math on stream.
Forgot. I'm like, I don't know, man.
After I saw what happened to Lethal getting roasted in chat, I'm never doing math on stream. dramiS will drop to 1-1 for week 4 and overall in the season for season 4. RAISY boosts up to 2-1, and as you mentioned, his only losses against Kilson, who is the reigning champion and arguably back and forth between Rafa as one of the greatest players of all time. And we will see. I mean, I think they're going to battle at least one more time. I'm not really sure, but it's gonna be a long season. So we have a lot of games to play. Again, everyone playing for seeding. Seeding matters more than ever now because Lethal, break it down again. What is it? Bottom 8 have to play the first day. If you're in the top 8, you just get a bye to second day. Like, that's huge in terms of the way the format works this season. So yeah, I mean, hats off to RAISY, a fantastic set. dramiS was right there. I still feel like just a couple mistakes, maybe pushing too much, maybe some missed rails, but it was a close set. I don't think he should get too bad. But at this level, I mean, pros, they hate to lose, and they should, because you're playing for money, you're playing for seeding, everything's on the line, and it builds week after week. So you want to win everything you can.
Yeah, you certainly do indeed. I think it's obviously in the previous seasons it's more about seeding, but of course it can affect your placement as well, depending on the circumstances of getting in that top 8 spots. So it's all to play for this time around. And I think, it's still early days, as we rightly mentioned before. So, we have to basically get some clear indication on what could happen towards the end of the season when the players start separating themselves in terms of points, etc. But yeah, it's a good early indicator to see. And you can tell from RAISY, he's playing, running his backside off from the very beginning to make sure that it does secure a top seeding going into QuakeCon.
Yep. I mean, as they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so you just can't get hung up on a 1 week's loss, right? Because every single match will compound to what that ultimately is. We're only seeing the early versions of what the season might look like, but inevitably we'll see some upsets. We'll see some unexpected victories in there, and we'll see a lot of what we do expect. But, in terms of RAISY is at a point where we expect him to perform well. dramiS is at a point where we think he can perform well. I would say, good job. Give you a B+ on that one. Love to see what your A+ produces.
We are working on getting RAISY in the booth so we can ask him a couple questions, and I think just like that, we're ready. So why don't we bring RAISY on in and badger him with some of our questions. RAISY, congrats and welcome.
Hello, thank you very much.
How's it going? How you feeling?
I feel a little bit rusty. I was seriously struggling to be successful in whatever I was doing. I was mostly out of control, so playing like that, it was just a struggle, and I have no idea how I managed to win 3-0, but I'm very happy about it nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, we think it was a strong performance, very, very close games, but you were able to pull it out. I'll take the last question because it's not related to anything really at all, because that's what I do. So whoever wants to go first, maybe Lethal, you fire away.
Yeah, go on, and I'll go first. Why not? So, RAISY, just a quick question from me. It's just a favorite. We were talking about, some people can be a bit rusty, cleaning the cobweb, so to speak, as they're easing into the Pro League. How much practice did you put in before the first week actually began?
None.
I was expecting
None
this
at all.
answer, so I'm going to be just straight and narrow. So there you go. That's me done. Wheat, your turn.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to assume that a little bit it's like riding a bike, RAISY, right? I mean, it comes back to you a little bit. But what I really want to ask you about is, okay, great, you're rusty, you got to put the practice in, get your aim down, like right, kind of get acclimated to the current meta. But you said throughout this match that you felt mostly out of control, right? So you were surprised you could win. This week we saw posted to your social media a game where you made like a 12 frag comeback in like three minutes, right? Also looked to me like mostly out of control at that point until you came back. So tell us, when you are mostly out of control, right? Like, how are you approaching that? Because I think as a player, I'm down by 11. I'm like, this game's over. I'm done. Like my opponent's eating me. But there has to be something about staying calm, just, believing that you can do it. I don't know. I just want to understand the RAISY mindset when you're either, way out of control or you're down by 11 and you need to come back.
All right. Well, when I try to take it very seriously, so it's not just like a practice match or like random duel, or ranked duel or things like that, but like actually like a tournament match or a QPL match or stuff like that, I try to be as calm as possible, because usually I get tilted, sometimes I get frustrated and stuff like that, and obviously that will affect the way I play. And so if I can avoid getting frustrated and tilted, I can remain calm and then just focus on the game, focus on what I'm doing, and look at the current situation I'm in the game during the match, and just figure out a way to turn it back around. Because very often it happens that when you're down a couple of frags, you just want to brute force your way through back into lead. And then that's when like 20 frags are just given to the opponent for no reason. So instead of that, which actually would work some of the times depending on situations, but it's mostly like a high risk, high reward game. like strategy. So instead of that, I tried to play it slow and calculated. I respected that he was in control, and I just tried to survive on small armors and bubbles, and just looked for opportunities to deal damage, preferably unreturned. And just, I was listening out to sound cues when where he's going, when he's picking up stuff. I was trying to get an idea of timings and the way he's gonna approach the next item, like which path he's gonna take. And I just tried to intercept him. I just stood between the item and him and did my best to hold him off and just get myself the item somehow. And very often I had to rely, throughout this matchup, I had to rely on setting up traps against him, and I was fortunate enough that they have mostly worked. But if I had no way to surprise him like he was expecting it, or the trap wasn't as efficient as I planned for it, then I would have been like seriously struggling to get the control back. But because some of the traps I set up actually worked, actually most of them, I managed to take back the control, and then from then on, I tried to play it slower and safer, not really going for frags, instead just try to maintain control. But I felt like, I'm not sure because I'd have to watch it back, but I felt like I was mostly out of control throughout these 3 maps, and I just had to be on the run. And sometimes even when I was on the run, I couldn't really escape, because either he was with a faster champion or he was just hitting those crucial rails around corners that completely ruined my movement and momentum and stack. And so, overall, I just try to approach it in a calm fashion and try to calculate the right opportunities to take to turn back the control and get some frags. And then as soon as I had a couple of frags lead, I just tried to survive, just escape, just run away.
That was a very in-depth and fantastic answer. Thank you.
Yeah, somebody clip
40.
that and study from that. So congratulations, 3-0 is big. Whether or not you feel like it was your strongest performance, that's still fantastic. My question has nothing to do with Quake Pro League. We can ask you questions about that all the time. I want to know, how does it feel to be the world record holder for the Quake 3 Arena speedrun on Nightmare? Does it feel good? For the people that don't know, just a quick, why don't you just let them know? Let the people know what you did.
All right, so a couple of months ago, I decided to play through the Quake 3 Arena campaign. And there's a medal in that for each map. If you manage to complete the map without dying once, you get a perfect medal. And so I figured I'm going to put myself up for a challenge and try to complete all of the maps in one go. So all 26 from first to last in one go without dying once. That's how it started. And then, once I actually managed to complete this challenge, I figured, why don't I try to do it faster? And so I started timing these attempts, these runs, and eventually I just tried to speedrun it, go as fast as possible. And I tried myself in different categories. I do the deathless challenges and the ones with deaths, where I don't have to be as careful, as cautious. It's fine if I die as long as I'm fast. And also there's the category for individual levels, which I have been trying to take over. Like every single map, I try to take over the world record. And out of 26 of them, at the moment, I'm holding 23. And they are actually really difficult to beat, because the guy I'm competing against is actually very good at the game. His name is Fierce. And so, yeah, we've been doing a little bit of back and forth. I try to take over his records and then he takes them back. But it's a lot of fun, and I have been doing it for the past couple of months, just, something that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats. I just wanted to talk about, there's off season, there's not a lot of reason to practice. I noticed that you were doing that, and that's just congratulations. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I just wanted chat to know, to put some respect on your name.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congrats, RAISY.
Congrats again. And I have a feeling we'll see you later on in the season, but congrats. Enjoy this victory, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
See ya.
Take care. Man, 40, if people were wondering why ChatGPT was slow the last couple weeks, it's because AI has been just funneling all of its power into the Quake 3 Arena bots to try to stop RAISY. And
seriously. The funniest thing to me is there's some people in chat who are like, what's Quake 3? And it's disgusting. Anyways, we are done with our first featured match of the day. We have one more on the way, so do not go anywhere. Grab a snack, grab a drink, grab whatever you want. We'll be back in 5-6 minutes, and we'll finish out the day with our last featured match of Wenger versus Maxter. See you soon.